people who don't go all in internally are doomed to fail. And I mean this because if you're not willing to get uncomfortable in general, despite your self-worth, despite the fear of commitment, if you're not willing to do that, then you're not opening yourself up. Without opening yourself up, how can you receive? How? How can you receive if you're not even willing to try, to not even take a leap, to take a chance? If you're in that situation, just understand, you need to open yourself up to receive. Only you can start that process. It's your reality. It's within your control. The ball is in your court. In this video, I'm going to discuss going all in and why it's absolutely necessary to manifest your goals and to achieve the things that you believe to be out of your reach, things that you don't genuinely believe you are adequate to receive. We've already established that your internal world, your identity will influence your external world, and it's only a matter of time. As long as you are congruent with who it is that you need to become and you embody that self and it becomes a natural part of you, then eventually you will experience the tangible equivalent of that. However, in order to do this, it's very crucial to go all in. And some people don't necessarily realize the weight behind this information. It's a lot easier for me to say it in a video than for you to actually experience it. For you to experience a moment in your life where you are in a state of uncertainty. You doubt if by taking a specific action, it will yield a result. And this is where going all in will completely apply to you. Because in order to achieve and to manifest that desire, you need to have the internal willingness to go all in, to have that complete trust and faith, and to take that uncomfortable leap despite the uncertainty. I'm going to first explain the 3 reasons for why people struggle with going all in. The first reason is your self-worth, because the self-worth directly correlates to what you believe you're worthy of. If you believe you're worthy of making X amount per month in your job or your business, then you will consistently do that because that's what you identify with. That is a natural part of you. However, if you want to go higher, if you want to go even higher and make even more, you're going to deal with mental limitations, identity-based limitations, which is your self-worth. And obviously, before I move on to number 2, this correlates to your relationships, your mental health, your fitness, for that matter. It also correlates to other areas, but I just used finance as an example. Number 2 is your comfort zone, because your comfort zone relates to your survival. And it relates, quite honestly, to every single thing that you do on a day-to-day basis. On a day-to-day basis. It's integral. And when you are taking those actions towards what you want, keep in mind that what you want is almost always outside of your comfort zone, every single time. So that's why you need to get uncomfortable. And if you have a big goal or something that you haven't achieved, you need to expand your comfort zone every single day. Do something uncomfortable in that direction, that particular path that you need to go in every single day, despite whatever self-worth related issues you might have. And the third one is fear of commitment. You're fearing the commitment of something new, something you haven't experienced. And that's why you need to get uncomfortable, because once you expand your comfort zone and it becomes comfortable, then that will change the dynamic of the situation. Once you've achieved the results that you want and you've navigated through the uncertainty, and obviously that's not like the ceiling, but for that level, once you experience that realm that you never thought was possible, your thoughts on commitment will change because you've crossed the bridge. You've taken the leap of faith. But when you haven't, it seems like an incredibly daunting task. You don't know if you're going to make it to the other side or if you will experience the tangible results that you want, for that matter. So these are the 3 reasons that people might struggle to go all in, or to have the internal willingness to go all in with their goals, with their endeavors in life. This is what will keep most people stuck. And if you pay close attention, you'll notice that each point is very closely related. Your comfort zone relates to your self-worth. Your fear of commitment relates to your comfort zone. And if you really look closer, they all relate back to each other. And you can make that argument. When you have a barrier towards achieving your goals and you're not willing to go all in, it'll manifest in subtle ways. You'll find ways to procrastinate, to avoid. You'll find ways to run away, to not address what needs to be addressed. And what's really sinister about it is that people that are in this self-improvement space, they hear all of the mindset tactics, motivational speeches, encouragement. They apply techniques, they take action. But what's interesting is that they find ways to avoid precisely what it is that they need to address. They'll convince themselves that they're taking the right actions, that they have the right identity or the right belief system, the right mindset, but they don't actually have that. They've convinced themselves that they do, but they don't. And only time will show you that because it's very self-evident. Reality will always catch up with your identity so long as you're expanding your comfort zone and you have the right identity in place. With the right systems in place as well, you can make changes in your life very quickly. But it's possible to deceive yourself, to use all these tools that you learn from videos like these and other resources outside of this to just avoid. It's possible to justify, I'm taking these actions, but deep down, you're not actually going all in. You're not doing everything that could be done and expanding your comfort zone fully. You have one foot out the door and one foot in the door, and that hesitance will manifest in subtle ways, keeping you in the same sequence of events and actions. You always find yourself stagnant. You won't actually make the breakthrough. And it's because you need to go all in. And you need to do that even though you have all these internal reservations. With uncertainty comes opportunity. And to really take full advantage of that, you must embody that ideal self. You must become who it is that you need to become in those times of uncertainty. And that's why it's so filled with opportunity, but it can also be dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. But if you do know what you're doing, what's the issue? So I thought this was very important to mention because this in itself is subtle. It is a very subtle but significant problem when you've convinced yourself you're doing all it is that you can, but you're not. And once you've convinced yourself, oh, well, I've already done everything that I can, well, that's not true. You're just believing in that. And then once you're convinced of that and it becomes your standard, then you're not going to advance further. You're not going to expand. That is a very problematic place to be in. At this stage in your life, you don't necessarily need confidence. What you need is courage. When I think of confidence, I think of the belief system, because the belief system requires physical proof. And when you encounter physical proof, you build that belief system. And that is what I correlate with confidence. Some people might think differently. They might correlate confidence with other terms. But when it comes to how I speak about reality creation, this is what I segment confidence as. Will that change in the future? Sure. But right now, in this video, that's what it'll be. Confidence in this video is correlated with your belief system. But when you're in a situation where you have no proof to rely on, you need to navigate with courage. The ability to take action despite not immediately seeing the results that you want. Courage enables you to step into the unknown, and the unknown gives you infinite opportunities. Once you expand past that limit, that barrier, and the box that you've lived in for so long, you can experience anything. As long as you navigate your internal world properly, you'll experience what you want. And that's what we want. We want to put ourselves in the best position of success possible in any endeavor of our lives. So what will you do? If you found this helpful, make sure to like this video and share it with your loved ones, your friends, someone who will actually gain value from this. Subscribe to this video if you find this content valuable in your life and you want to view more videos like this to help you with making change in your life. Go in the description to schedule a free coaching session to work with me and discover what is going on in your own life, what is plaguing you internally, and what you need to create a breakthrough, to break past that limitation internally. Because if you can't overcome these internal barriers, you cannot experience what you want in the external. if we're a good fit to work together, then we can obviously move forward. And with that, I'll see you in the next video.